Tell me what it's been like. I mean, you went from being Speaker of the House. What's been this adjustment been like to now being a rank and file member?
Well, it's different. You're always able to serve, and it's a little different. You're not always going to just be rank and file. In the process, you know the system. It's a little harder. You want to make other decisions, but I mean, unfortunately, 8 Republicans worked with all Democrats, disrupt, and now we're in a different situation.
How much do you miss it?
Well, it hasn't been gone that long, But like anything else, I want to be at the table with whatever we're doing.
Can you reflect about that episode and how frustrating that was going through that?
I would do the exact same thing again. To keep our government open, to fund our troops. Think about those in the Mediterranean today. If those troops were worried about could they make their rent payment, their car payment. I mean, it was the right thing to do. Unfortunately, we had never seen it in the past that 8 Republicans would join. I think it's more personal. If the ethics committee never does anything to Gates, then Gates was successful in stopping probably what rightfully should come to him. But going through the 3 weeks and then taking down a Steve Scalise, Jim Jordan, Tom Emmer, all people who are really prepared to do the job, that was frustrating for me.
Those 8 members who you've referred to as the Crazy Eights and the like, after they elected Speaker Johnson, they were crowing about this. They were. What did you think about that?
Well, it just from a serious point of understanding governing. Look, I'm a conservative who loves to govern. I don't believe them to be conservatives. There's a different rationale. It's driven by Gates, it was all based upon an ethics complaint that happened in the last Congress. He would throw his country away to try to protect himself from what would come out as the truth. For those others to go along, I don't quite understand. Think of the successes that we had. The commitment to America to win the majority. I mean, I've been leader for 5 years. 2 election cycles, we never lost. When the Republicans in the Senate lost both cycles, the governors, the legislatures, the president. So we've had a lot of great success. The Parents' Bill of Rights, a border security bill. You haven't done something like that with Republicans since Ronald Reagan. So we had major successes. This is more about a personality.
So you've been mentioning surprise that these folks went along with Matt Gaetz. Who surprised you the most out of those 8?
The 8, I think the 2 that were really different than all the others were Tim Burchett and Nancy Mace. Mm-hmm. That's just, the others hadn't voted for me before anyways. They were disruptors the whole time.
Mm-hmm. What about them surprised you, Burchett and Mace?
It just didn't, it seemed out of nature, but they seemed to have changed during the time. They care a lot about press, not about policy, and so they seem to just want the press and the personality.
Do you think Mace will have a difficult time winning re-election now?
Yeah, I don't. Well, not because of this. I mean, if you've watched her, just her philosophy and the flip-flopping, I don't believe she wins re-election.
You don't?
No.
Will you try to oppose her?
No. Look, I worked hard. I spent $6 million helping her get elected. I supported her in her primary. I just from a basis of watching someone on the job that they do, I don't think she'll probably have earned the right to get reelected.
You had you had a really good relationship with Hakeem Jeffries, and then the motion to vacate happened. Do you still have a good relationship with him?
No, he hasn't talked to me since then. Look, at the end of the day, the Democrats decided to make a political decision. I mean, if I go back, Nancy Pelosi told me even before, sometime I believe it was in December before I was elected, I started having problems with getting the votes, which she did as well. And I told her the issue was bringing back this motion to vacate. And first thing she said, just give it to him. We'd never allow that. It's not good for the House.
Matt Gaetz, you've been mentioning a lot. How much would the Republican Party benefit if he were no longer a member of the House, in your opinion?
Oh, tremendously. I mean, people have to earn the right to be here. And I just think he'll admit to you personally, he doesn't have a conservative bent in his philosophy. And just the nature of what he focuses on.
Do you think the House GOP should consider expelling him?
Look, that's up to the conference, but I mean, I don't believe the conference will ever heal if there's no consequences for the action.
I mean, does it concern you that Speaker Johnson doesn't seem to be going in that direction?
Well, that's a question for Speaker Johnson. I don't know if they made any deal for the vote or anything like that. I don't believe so. but I'll let the ethics do their work.
Looking back at it, could you have dealt with the Freedom Caucus types differently? Would it result in any different scenario if you changed your approach in any way with them?
Look, you cover this place and you know these personalities better than ever. You watch the 15 rounds. Most of the questions you would ask me after I won, would I survive the next week? Mm-hmm. So we all knew this would happen. You just didn't think they would do it based upon such a dumb idea of keeping our troops being paid. It was not about policy. It wasn't about anything else than personality and trying to protect one person from the ethics committee.
You mentioned you think you guys will gain seats next year, but what about just what happened on Tuesday? Do you have concerns about your party's message on, say, abortion, and need to change your message as heading into next year?
Look, abortion matters in these elections. It mattered in the last election. But let's just go through that. What happened last Tuesday? What happened in Long Island? Republicans gained Democratic area. Well, that's key to our majority. So that makes those who they want to go after stronger. In Virginia, you say, oh, Republicans lost the State House. Well, those were new lines they were running in. So they really only lost one seat in the process. If you look at the abortion issue was on the ballot in the last election, well, why did we pick up seats in California and New York? Those are the most liberal states there were. So I'm not saying it's a big issue, and Republicans have to learn how to deal with it.
So you don't think that you guys had a bad night on Tuesday?
No, we had a bad night, but you learn from it. Now, let's go in a year from now. Biden's numbers are worse today than at any time. I believe President Biden's biggest problem is a problem he can't fix. It's about his age. Now, the question will be, is he on the ticket or not? That's what Democrats are talking about right now. That's a really bad place to be.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is Trump the strongest candidate for your party?
Well, Trump is going to be the nominee, okay? And I think
Will you support him?
Do
you support him?
Yes, I will support him.
Do you support him right now in the primary?
I haven't endorsed, but I support President Trump, okay?
But what's the difference?
Well, I haven't made some official endorsement.
Are you worried that all those legal problems could make him a bad candidate for your party next year?
In most candidates, you would worry about things like that. If you watch, President Trump has been able to find anything in the past. And I don't believe when you evaluate or you ask Americans the question, is it fair that you're putting Trump in court? Overwhelmingly, people say no. So they
even general election voters, you don't think it'll hurt him with the suburban voters and the like?
Will it hurt a little? It could hurt a little, but Biden's in a worse situation, right? You have every swing state except one where President Trump is beating Biden, and he's sitting in court. He hasn't really been able to campaign as hard.